Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our introduction to the EV Technician Program webinar. We're very excited to give you an overview of our EV Tech program today. So we have lots to cover. Let's get started. Just before we start, I would like to ask one of the people backing me up. Are you still seeing the little red scribbles on the screen?
Yes, in the lower left-hand corner.
All right, I can't see it in mine, so I think I'm just going to proceed without trying to address it so that we don't slow things down. Okay, sorry about that. So you'll see a little bit of scribbling in the corner. Somehow our Zoom session is getting written over a little bit, but we're not going to worry too much about it. It shouldn't affect things. I am Scott Duncan. I am joined today by a number of my colleagues. Presenting with me in the webinar is Geet Amin. Geet, say hi and tell people a little bit about what your role involves.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to our webinar today. My name is Geet. I work as a senior support consultant at George Brown College and provide technical and tutorial support to all the students who enroll into one of the technical programs that we offer, including the EV Technician program that we're going to talk about today.
Thank you, Geet. Also behind the scenes are Iris and Shimona, who are coordinating our question and answer flow of information. Say hi, guys.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Geet and Shimona are our support representatives who take calls from our students to help them in their program. So if you did register in the future, they would be some of the people that you would talk to get technical and tutorial support. Here's our plan today for our 30-minute session. We'll review our program a bit and pass along to you some of the things that we know are most important to students as they're considering our programs. So we're going to try and focus on that information for you. And very importantly, to give you an opportunity to ask questions and us to provide that information. The best way to interact with us through the presentation is through Zoom chat. So if you want to do that, go to the Zoom interface. You'll see the chat button, click on that, and then your chat should be open if it's not already open for you. And then you can enter questions into chat. Iris will be monitoring that. She will answer some questions along the way, and she'll save some for later. FYI, the session is being recorded today so that we can capture it and provide it to everyone who's in attendance and some of the people who signed up but weren't able to attend. So let's plunge right in. We're all here today because of the really exciting emerging market opportunities in electric vehicles and associated infrastructure industries. You're probably familiar with some version of these statistics. Lots of EVs are coming on stream, and lots of jurisdictions are going to make them mandatory for all new cars starting in 2030. Charging stations are going up as fast as they can build them. The figures that I've read is that for every 10 EVs, there needs to be one public charging station. So just imagine as EVs grow in numbers, how many charging stations will also be built and installed and need to be maintained. I checked Workopolis the other day for jobs in EV, and I came across 339 charging station jobs and 225 electric vehicle technician jobs. So it's booming out there. Our program is here to help you to try and take advantage of some of this opportunity. So let's dig into some of the details around the program. As most of you probably know a little bit about us now, we're a certificate program. There's 14 modules in the program. It's self-paced, it's online. technical training. One of our real highlights is our simulation software, which Geet's going to show you a little bit later, which allows you to interact with those circuits in a very dynamic way that you need to learn about for both EVs and charging stations. Our program was developed explicitly for training auto technicians and for training charging station technicians. So those are the very specific target market that we shaped the content around. And we have lots of people in both of those areas looking at our program in here today, and many other people who are also interested in from a general point of view and looking to find opportunities in the general business of EVs, charging stations, and infrastructure. I would like to post a quick survey at this point, just to find out a little bit more of information about you. Perrin, if you can post that to the group. I can't see it, but you should be able to see it now. It's 3 questions, very quick. If we'd love you to answer it so we can learn a little bit about you anonymously, or just close it, close the window, or it'll disappear in about 30 seconds if you don't do anything about it. Geet, I'm going to hand off to you now to take over some of the detailed technical content.
Thank you, Scott. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. I will walk you all through some of the technical details about the electric vehicle technician program that we offer. As we can see on our screen right now, the program covers 14 modules, ranging from topics that are part of the electric vehicle technician infrastructure and as well as the electric vehicle charging station infrastructure. Now, the first 4 modules on the program are introductory modules, starting with module 1, which is the introduction to EVs, where you'll learn the basics of electric vehicles, the history of the electric vehicles, different types of electric vehicles, such as hybrid fuel cell electric vehicles, or the different kinds of hybrid vehicles, for example, the fully hybrid or a plug-in hybrid vehicle. So all these details will be covered in module 1. And all this information is very vital for an EV technician to know, as they will be working on different kinds of electric vehicles in their day-to-day work. And some of us know that different manufacturers use different technologies. Some are hybrid, some are plug-in hybrid. So it is very vital for everyone to have this kind of information, and you will be learning all this in very much detail in our program. Modules 2, 3, and 4 are the fundamentals of electricity and electronics. So these modules will be very helpful to the students who don't have any electrical background. So we do get a lot of students and our prospects asking this question to us: if they have no electrical background, would they be able to take this program and learn how to work on charging station, electric vehicle charging stations, or also work on the repair and maintenance of electric vehicle? So the answer is yes. This introductory modules will give you solid foundation in electricity and electronics, and it will set the stage for you to learn, for you to build on it as you move forward to the later modules in the program. Starting with module 5, it's everything, the course content is heavily focused on teaching you everything in perspective to the electric vehicle infrastructure. As you can see, module 5 is the power electronics, where you learn the high power systems, focusing on devices like high power diodes, semiconductors, and transistors. This module also covers topics like rectifiers, inverters, converters in glory detail, and it will not only explain you the theory, but it will also teach you how to design the circuits and use these high powered devices to achieve desired outcomes. So in modules 5 to 9, you'll learn very important topics such as rectifiers, inverters, converters, battery charging systems, AC motors and DC motors and their control circuits. And they play a huge role in an electric vehicle as well as in the electric vehicle charging station. If you think about it, a typical electric vehicle runs on an AC motor, which is also, we all know, it is also called the traction motor or the AC induction motor. But at the same time, the vehicle also contains about 30 to 40 DC motors, which runs the different parts of the vehicle, such as power windows and the sunroofs, and other power devices in an electric vehicle. So when we charge the electric vehicle using a level 2 charger at home, or let's say in a shopping mall, it is the AC current that comes out of the outlet, but the batteries in the electric vehicle are all DC. So the current needs to be converted from AC to DC, which is done by the rectifier circuit. Now, as we know, the main motor in the electric vehicle is the AC induction motor. So again, there is a need for us to convert that DC current coming out of the battery back to AC to drive this motor. So in other words, there is a constant transition from AC to DC at the battery level to the motors and all that. And this makes this modules very important. And our technical training program, it covers all of it in glory detail, not just in theory, but it also supports them using the lab projects, teaching you how these circuits work at the root level and how you can troubleshoot the circuits when it's needed in your daily work as an EV car technician or an EV charging station technician. So we will learn about some of this lab projects and simulation software later in some of the slides. But if we look at some of the other modules that are covered are powertrain, sensors, communications, the safety, maintenance, repair. All these modules are very important. Powertrain module is something very different than a gasoline car. If you look at a gasoline car, the transmission has 6 gears, or some powerful cars have 8-gear transmission. But if for an EV, it only has 1 gear that drives the motor. So this shows even for someone who has automotive or a car mechanic background, our EV technician program will be very helpful for them to learn how to repair a vehicle and how to work on this different transmissions and powertrain and all that. Module 11, as we can see, it's the sensors and actuators. This will teach you the principles of how sensors and digital cameras and how they work together to in the driver assist systems available in all the modern day smart cars. And same applies to the rest of the modules. The communications and safety and autonomous vehicle are extremely important. As we know, the electric vehicles have high voltage power systems. So you have to have the safety precautions and learn all the safety procedures before you start working on them. So if we can move on to the next slide, Scott. Thank you. So let's take a look at one of the module in detail. This is the module 7, and all of our modules follow the similar format. As you can see in this module, there are multiple sections, and same applies to rest of the modules as well. They all follow the same format. They will have multiple sections within them. In this module, we can see there are different types of battery charging systems, different charging connectors. As we know, Tesla have their own proprietary connector. So all this is covered in very detail, and you will learn about different kinds of charging connectors. You'll learn about the bidirectional charging, the purpose of open charge point protocol, which is the application protocol used for communication between the charging stations and the central management system. So you will learn about all this details and not just in theory, but also you'll be able to apply it using the simulation software and lab projects. You'll also learn the EVSE, the electric vehicle supply equipment installation, maintenance, and safety procedures required for it. So this is just one module that we're looking at, but same applies to all rest of the modules as well. It covers everything in very much detail. Maybe we can take a look at the next slide, which I think, yes, very good. So here we're looking at a practical example. As I was saying earlier, all our content, everything that we cover in the program is supported by practical examples and simulation software. So for a technical training program like EV, it is very important for you to have the hands-on experience. Someone could read through the textbook or watch videos to learn the concept, but until you try it, until you learn the practical side of it, you will never have the hands-on experience that is very important before you start working in the field. So this is just one example that where we show you how to calculate the amount of time it will take to charge the Model S battery, the Tesla Model S battery. But the more important part here is the lab project at the bottom of the screen. When you click on that lab project, it will open up a circuit logic simulation software, and it will give you this circuit. It will be a pre-built circuit for you to run the simulation. But at the same time, you will be able to modify the circuit, change it according to your needs, and run the simulation to see the output. The circuit logic simulation is very flexible. You can build the circuits from scratch. We have more than 150 pre-built lab projects that you will come across when you go through the program. But at the same time, it is fully up to you if you would like to set up a new circuit and run the simulation from scratch. It allows you to do that. There are different kind of concepts you will learn using this simulation software. For example, we were talking about the converter circuit earlier. So if there are different converter circuits, like if you're converting a low level DC to a higher level DC, it's called a boost converter, and vice versa, from a higher to the lower level DC, it's called a buck converter. So all these devices are very specific to electric vehicle, and we have added several devices that are supporting this kind of circuit design required to learn the electric vehicle infrastructure to the library of our circuit logic simulation software. So you will be using these devices and components in the circuit logics to be able to perform this lab projects. So again, just to end the circuit logic conversation there, this is the most important part of our program. You'll come across several lab projects, simulation software, as well as the animations throughout the program, which will teach you all that. Moving on to our next slide, as we are looking at right now, the format of the program. Our program is a web-based format. Students are provided with once you register for the program, you will be provided with a link to download the software on your computer. This includes, once you download the package, it includes the curriculum as well as the simulation software. Everything you need to study, as we can see on the screen, there are 3 shortcuts that are showing up. One is electric vehicle technician, and the other 2 are the simulation tools. Everything you need to study is provided on the electric vehicle technician part of the program. And the simulation tools you will use throughout the course to do the lab projects. I'm moving on to the next slide, Scott. Thank you. So let's take a look at the online exam format. Again, online exams are also web-based. So you can take the exam any time of the day, and you can use any browser you like to do the exams. Any modern day browser like Chrome, Firefox, or Microsoft Edge will work to load the online exam. As we can see, the format is very straightforward. The exams are timed 90 minutes. There are 30 questions to answer, and you'll be required to score 60% or more on all 14 modules to successfully complete the program. So there is an online exam that you have to do at the end of each module, and we recommend you study 1 module at a time and then do its exam before you proceed on to the next module. So that way it helps you score better. But other than that, it's very flexible. You can take your exam any time of the day. The whole format of the program is very flexible. It's self-paced, self-study, so you can study any time of the day. There is no specific time slots where you have to take the exams. It's totally up to you. Moving on to the next slide, Scott. Thank you. As we all know, for a technical training program like EV technician, student support is very important. This program being self-paced home study, that does not mean there is no support available. If you're ever stuck on a math question or a lab project, or you need any help with the practical example that we were looking at earlier, it included some math calculations in it. There was a complicated circuit design over there. If you don't understand any part of that circuit, there is always help available. You can reach out to us at the support center by phone, email, or we have student forum online as well. So there we have a dedicated toll-free support line, which you can use to contact us. And our support center is open extended hours, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. until 10 p.m., as well as on weekends, 9 to 5. This is because majority of our students are working full time and are upskilling themselves to move on into new career, or maybe to upgrade them to get a promotion or something like that. So they study in the evening and on weekends, and we want to make sure that we are available to support them, to help them when they need us in the evenings and on weekends. So that's why we have the extended hours and a dedicated support team available to help you with questions if you have come across. Yep, thank you, Scott. So next, this is the hardware requirements, mostly the computer requirements from your end to be able to run the electric vehicle technician software. One basic requirement that we ask is that you will need a computer running Windows operating system. Unfortunately, our programs are not compatible with Mac OS, Linux, Chrome OS, or any other operating system. They're strictly made for Windows OS. Apart from that, there is no high-end computer requirement. A very simple computer with 2 GB of RAM, as little as 500 MB of available hard drive space is sufficient enough to run the software and the simulation tools. The circuit logics and 3D lab are, despite of them being a complex simulation tools, they don't require an expensive dedicated graphics card. As long as you have a computer with a decent CPU, such as Intel Pentium, or equivalent processor, it will be more than enough to run the electronics lab simulation software. The EV technician program is offered in a web-based format, as we looked at it earlier. So you will need to have an active internet connection to access the curriculum. The simulation software gets installed locally, so you can do all the circuit designing and troubleshooting and repair all that offline. But to access the curriculum, you will need to have active internet connection, as well as for online exams, you will need to be connected to internet, which you have to do it at the end of each module. I believe that's it on my end, Scott. I would pass it back to you to take it forward.
Thank you very much, Geet. That's lots of very great detailed technical information, and we'll come back to more technical questions at the end. I've been tracking on the chat group, and there's lots of interesting questions going on there that have to do with things like credentials and certifications and such. So we're going to try and address some of that as I proceed through some of these more general questions. So in terms of George Brown's positioning on this, I mean, we are a fully accredited community college. We are overseen by the province of Ontario, Ministry of Training, Colleges and Universities. We are one of the largest community colleges in Ontario, if not Canada. We are the largest provider of distance ed in Canada, and our Con Ed department ranks right up there with any of the largest in Canada and the US. So we are well positioned in terms of our history and our authority and our credentials in the marketplace. We've been doing technical training like this for over 20 years, closer to 25 years. We're quite experienced with it. We know how to do this, and we deliver it well. Upon completion of the program, as Iris pointed out in the chat, you receive a certificate of completion. That is not a certification, which again was one of the questions on the chat group. Let me distinguish that. Certifications are local provisions for local activities for work in a specific jurisdiction. be it provincial, and there are national. But the challenge that we face in the EV marketplace is that the business is only emerging and starting to define itself. In fact, I think someone commented that there are no rules nationally. There are some of emerging. There are, Red Seal came up in one question. There are some Red Seal short courses. I know British Columbia has a 2-week on-site Red Seal certification in EVs. If you can go to that college in British Columbia, you can get a certification. In the United States, it's all over the map, literally and figuratively, in terms of what kind of licensing requirements are in place for EVs. The bottom line is, if you are working on a car, you probably require an auto mechanics license as the foundation for the work that you're doing with the car, that you are now extending into electric vehicles. If you're working with high voltage EV charging stations, you are probably an electrician. Most jurisdictions are defining it as that's the requirement to work in that area. But there's also a large spectrum of other work and other support industries and emerging infrastructure companies around EVs that require training in these areas, but don't necessarily require a practicing license as an auto mechanic or as an electrician. So our program provides a certificate of completion. It's not a certification. You have to consider your local requirements to really define that stuff. So always check your provincial or your state level requirements for working and having certifications to do that work in your particular area. I know that doesn't answer all the questions, but it's a big one, and it's only defining itself as we move forward. Entry requirements came up again in those questions. It's one of the most common. That's why we wanted to try and address it here. So we are an open enrollment program. Students can sign up. We welcome everyone. The academic requirement, we do require a high school diploma or equivalent or mature student status. We can tell you more about that if you're interested in finding out about that. Is there previous experience required in electronics or in automotives? No, you can take it without either of those skill sets, but ultimately, depending on where you're hoping to work, you may require them downstream. Our typical student profile in this program is so far an auto technician, an electrician, or more generally, someone just very interested in the emerging marketplace and looking to get a baseline training so that they can work in this really exciting emerging industry. Moving on, sorry, I went backwards. There we go. So cost, again, a common question, pretty straightforward, and you may have seen this on our website if you've been there. The total cost of the program is $1,750. You can approach it in a pay-as-you-learn format where you register into one module at a time, so you don't have to register into everything all at once. So you can do it either way. And the cost is the same for either approach. So it's up to you, whatever works best for you, pay as you learn or register into the whole program. We are also very experienced in working with companies. If you perchance had a company sponsoring your training and they're looking for information about tuition reimbursement or ways if they're going to pay directly. We've been in this business now for over 20 years. We've seen pretty much every kind of scenario. So if you are in that situation, contact us, talk to our advisors, and they can help explain the easiest way to make that happen. So in summary, those are the highlights, some technical stuff, some program stuff. Here's a few of those things summarized on the slide. We feel our program is a great opportunity to assist you to train and really invest in your EV career. And, most importantly, you'll develop that knowledge, those new skills, the confidence, and a certificate to back you up to launch you into the EV job marketplace. let's move into questions. I think at this point, Geet, let's look at some of the pre-submitted questions, and I'm going to let you start. So why don't you pick one of the ones that you were going to answer and go for it.
Sure. Thank you, Scott. The first question we have here, I believe I addressed this earlier in our webinar, but I'll still mention it. It's from Eric, and he's asking, is there a hands-on course where we can take after finishing the online program? Eric, this is by far the biggest question that we get, and not just for the EV program, but for all the other technical programs as well, like PLC, robotics, and automation. The hands-on experience, like I mentioned earlier in the webinar, is achieved using the simulation software, and this we have proved this with our other technical programs as well, especially the PLC, where you work on different manufacturing environments to learn the ladder logic programming is all done by the simulation software, and same applies to the electric vehicle technician too. You'll be going through the concepts and circuits and everything which are part of the electric vehicle car, as well as the electric vehicle charging station, and how you can test, troubleshoot, and repair them. You will learn using the simulation tools like Circuit Logics and 3D Lab. So Scott, maybe you want to pick up the question?
I'll jump in. So I've got a couple of questions here that kind of overlap, so I'm going to cover them at the same time. So a question was submitted by Jonas and Waleed and Christopher about job opportunities and job placement and employment requirements. So we do not have job placement as part of our program. We're just instead, we have students all over North America. That would not be possible for us to do with students scattered all about. But what we do have within the program that does address some of the needs of students as they begin to pursue job opportunities is we have a private Facebook group that is restricted to students and graduates of the program, where we create a community for those people. But within that community, we also gather job postings from a wide range of jurisdictions and related job areas for someone who would be eventually a graduate of the program. So we do try and gather up those opportunities as we can. We post them in the private Facebook group to make them available to all of our students and graduates to continue to develop their programs, or sorry, their careers. I'll hit one more real quick from Jonas. He was looking for information on roughly how much time was required to complete the program. So the answer is, it sort of depends. It depends on your background. If you're a practicing electrician, then you're going to move through some of the material pretty quickly. If you're a practicing auto mechanic, some of the stuff is going to come faster to you than someone who's new to it. So that background does define that a little bit. The other thing that is really important is how much time you have. Most of our students are working full-time in a job, having a busy life, family, and life requirements of their time. So, but that's the beauty of our program, because you can work on our program from midnight to 2 a.m. every day of the week if you want to, or you can work on it diligently on the weekends. So again, it depends on how much time you have and how much of your time you're willing to invest in the program to try and define that how quickly you can go through it. We say on average 10 to 20 hours a week. We say on average 32 weeks roughly to complete the program for someone who's working and studying our program part-time. But those again are really broad generalizations. And once you look at the individuals, it's always very different depending on their circumstances and their motivation to work through it. Geet, back to you for one.
Thank you, Scott. I have a question here from Anthony. He's asking, does the training cover Jeep models? We are a Jeep specific shop and would be willing to send our guys for training if it does. So this is a great question, Anthony. But if we look at the electric vehicle and how they are designed, they're all fundamentally the same under the hood. You can say it is basically the battery on wheels, unless you are going to be dealing with hybrid vehicles where it also includes the internal combustion engine along with the electric motors and stuff. The fully electric vehicles are all the same. They all use the same fundamentals, and they all use the batteries, electric motors, the regenerative braking system. Everything stays the same. Our programs are not focused on any particular manufacturer or any particular brand of the vehicle. In fact, it can be applied to all. There are going to be some differences if you think about the onboard diagnostics. Every manufacturer, every vendor will have their own onboard diagnostic codes, and that is something that they will have to learn on top of it. But the concepts, the fundamentals stays the same for the overall infrastructure of an electric vehicle.
Okay, one more question that I'm going to address, and then we'll go to the chat submitted questions. This is from Madeline from New Brunswick. Hi, Madeline. Do we offer any in-person training? So, not associated with our program. George Brown has lots of other in-person training programs if you come to Toronto and go to on campus. But no, we don't offer it any associated through our program. And the funding is not available as far as I'm aware in New Brunswick. We do try and make funding as the cost as flexible as we can with our pay-as-you-learn scenario. There may be some local funding sometimes to different programs, find out about our program and offer funding. So we've got a number of jurisdictions that do offer local funding, but again, that all depends on where you are. Okay, let's move to over to the chat questions. Iris, I know we've addressed a bunch of them along the way, tried to cover off on them as well as we can. Are there more that we can address?
Yeah, you might be able to. Geet, this one might be for you. Does the program include battery cell repairs?
So we do cover in very detail about batteries and fuel cells and everything. One of the modules that we cover is module 6, and you'll be able to find much more information about it if you look at the program outline on our website. I will give you all the details about what kind of batteries and parameters and everything that we cover in that module. So the whole concept is the battery management system, where it controls the battery charge and ensures the connection and the safe operation of the batteries and everything. We teach you all that in theory, as well as it will be supported by the lab projects and some of the animations that we cover in the program.
Thanks, Geet. I do have one other question from Edwin, and I don't know if you're going to be able to answer this. We might have to get back to Edwin. I have an IEP. Can I get extra time for exams? And that's an independent, I believe, independent educational fund, independent learning fund.
Yeah, I'll try and answer that. Clearly, we George Brown College incorporates accommodations for people in different situations with IEPs, and we would have to talk in more detail about that. We have a particular office that would really be the authority on that and would help us answer that question. So if you would like to pursue that with us, maybe follow up with a phone call or an email. Let us give us a little more detail, and we can contact that office within George Brown and find out what kind of accommodations might be available for the exams. I don't think, to be clear, I don't think we've done it before for our programs. I can't recall having seen that happen, but it's possible that we could find a way to accommodate that in some way.
There is another question, and it just came in. Can you just again quickly cover what the start date is, and if there are discounts if you have more than one student enrolling?
So I'll take that. The start date could be tomorrow for someone, or it could be a month from now. Our program is open enrollment. You can sign up and begin immediately. So there is lots of flexibility in how you do that. Sorry, what was the second part of that question?
If there are a number of students people enrolling at one point in time, are there discounts?
Right. Generally speaking, the answer is no, because we're an academic institution. We have, we don't operate on that kind of commercial corporate discounting basis. So pretty much the price that you see is the price that you would have to pay. I would like to make one comment. I'm noticing on the Q&A screen that is up right now, the scribbles have gotten bigger. I apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. We're not sure how that's getting there. Somehow we're dragging a pen across the screen, and someone's erasing it now, which is interesting. And we'll try and do better next time with that. I'm seeing Brad. Brad, are you doing that? Interesting. That might be a feature that we need to turn off on Zoom. Okay, let's keep going, Iris.
I believe that's all I'm seeing on my end. Somebody's asking about how to register. I'm just going to put that link in the chat right now. So, but Shimona, do you see anything else?
I do see a question here, if I may jump in.
Sure.
It's from, let me just see, I hope I didn't lose it. It's regarding if they can launch this program from work as well as home. I think there was another question asking if they can launch this program on a tablet. So I can answer that. Once you register for the program, you're given 3 license copies of the software, which will allow you to install the software on up to 3 computers, and most of our students do the same. They have the a lot of for majority of our students, they are being sponsored by their employer, and that's where they sometimes install the software on their work computer as well as they install it on their home computer, and then they will also have an extra license available in case if one of the computer gets damaged, if they would like to install it on an extra computer later on. So that's why we have 3 licenses available once you register with the program. With regards to the question about if you can open it on a tablet or not, unfortunately no. As long as the tablet is running Windows operating system, then yes. If you're using that Microsoft Surface tablet, which runs full Windows operating system, then yes, you will be able to install the software on that and successfully use it. But if you're using one of those Android tablet or iOS tablets, unfortunately, it will not allow you to run our software on it.
That's all the questions I see right now.
Okay, thank you, Iris. Thank you, Shimona and Geet. And thank everyone for all of the questions and the interaction with us. We really appreciate that. I think we need to wrap up. We're a little over our half hour already. So thanks for your involvement today, and we will be happy to follow up with you if you've sent us subsequent questions. We will be sending out show notes next week with the video and any specific questions that you might have directed at us individually. Please let us know if you have any other questions. Give us a call at this number or send us an email at this email address, and you can talk to one of our advisors, and we can provide more information. Thank you, everyone. We really appreciate your involvement today, and we hope to speak again with you soon. Bye for now.
Thank you, everyone. Just to answer Jeff's question, yes, this recording will be emailed to everyone, and you will also be able to view it on our website.
Yeah, just look at your emails sometime Monday or Tuesday, and we will email everybody. And again, it will be posted on our website as well.
Thank you very much, everyone. We're signing off now. Bye for now.